possible to create massive gaps between players over time. During this period, a French content creator named Elox began pushing, quickly reaching the #1 spot on the global leaderboard and even surpassing the previous world records of total trophies, records previously associated with players like Hyra and Equox. Instead of slowing down, he continued pushing to extend the gap between himself and everyone else. Now, as celebrating his achievement, one stood out in the screenshot. Rostislav had returned, once again climbing the leaderboard, eventually reaching the #2 spot. On March 13th, Rostislav unexpectedly uploaded a video titled "Why the Top 2 Player Got Banned," where he briefly addressed his sudden 31-day ban. Now, although the video was short and didn't include many details, everything started to fall apart. And the whole truth about my account ban, which quickly reached over 700,000 views, he began exposing what was happening behind the scenes, showing private conversations between Elox and another player who had noticed just how fast Rostislav was catching up in trophies. Elox was saying, "I have to ban him. He's account sharing. That's why he's so fast and he's never sleeping." And just like that, the situation immediately shifted from a simple ban to something much more serious. The situation here goes even deeper. Later in the same video, Rostislav didn't just rely on messages, but instead presented actual data, comparing how many matches both he and Elox were playing on a daily basis during their push. Not only was Rostislav consistently playing fewer matches than Elox, but his numbers were also extremely stable, averaging around 500 games per day, still lower than Elox on almost every single day. And this is where things start to get questionable, because when you're pushing for the #1 spot in the world, you don't just play for a couple of days and stop. You grind consistently for long periods of time, especially after the trophy rework where seasonal resets were removed. So the real question becomes, why did Elox only start accusing Rostislav of account sharing when the gap between them started closing, even though their daily activity had been almost identical the entire time? And even more importantly, why did nobody question Elox while he was holding the #1 spot for almost an entire month, creating a gap of over 22,000 trophies between himself and Rostislav, while the difference between Rostislav and the third player was significantly lower at around 16,000? Things become even more concerning. Rostislav also mentioned to obtain another private conversation, this time between Elox and a player named Zelif, where Elox was talking about banning multiple players. One message stood out in particular: "I already have to ban a lot of people. If I start banning everyone, they'll think something's wrong," which raises an even bigger question, because this no longer sounds like someone simply reporting a suspicious player, but rather someone deciding who should and shouldn't be banned. We'll come back to that situation in a second, though, because on March 15th, Elox uploaded his response to this controversy. Now, in this video, he focused on showing his own screen time, which averaged around 20 hours per day, justifying it by saying, "I know it's impressive, but a human can't do it, and I'm just drinking energy drinks and I have good discipline," while also explaining that he was simply able to play faster matches than Rostislav. He then clarified that, despite being a content creator, he couldn't directly ban anyone, and that he'd only reported the situation to Supercell, who then made the final decision to ban Rostislav. However, instead of clearing things up, this response only created more doubt, as many people felt it lacked any actual evidence, quickly leading to backlash and pushing the video to a dislike ratio of around 65%. Just a few hours later, Rostislav responded again. It wasn't just the peak of the controversy. He uploaded another video reacting to Elox's statement, introducing even more screenshots showing that Elox was actively asking other people for help finding proof of account sharing. "Use account sharing. Do you have any proof for me?" "No, I don't. I don't think you're sharing." And later, "Try to get proof for me, please." "Okay, I'll try." But there was one major problem. Rostislav 2 days, meaning Elox was looking for proof after the ban had already happened. Rostislav also pointed out that Elox was only showing a few battles to justify how he was completing matches faster, even though his total number of matches is close to 7,000. In other words, it was presented as a general overview rather than the full picture. Elox's video comes across as very defensive, as if he's trying to prove his own legitimacy rather than addressing the accusations that he made. And at that point, things didn't just look suspicious anymore. They stopped making sense. Because if you're going to accuse someone of cheating, you're expected to have proof before taking action, not after. Because of how unclear everything was, I decided to investigate further and reach out to Elox directly, something I almost never do for my videos, just to understand what was really happening behind the scenes. During my conversation with him, he for you, and I'm legit. And when I asked for proof of Rostislav's account sharing, instead of providing any concrete evidence, he just referred me back to another video and to screen time. However, the most important part came when I asked about his connection to Supercell, and Elox explained, I talked with an admin for Supercell content creators, Supercell admin, and one admin for content creators, I talked to the content creators admin, and he talked to another admin, and then they thought Rostislav was playing 24/24 every time, so they banned him for account share. Now, this is where things become much more complex. Rostislav is a Russian player, and due to official Supercell restrictions, creators from Russia are not eligible to be part of the creator program. Because of this, he doesn't have any access to the same communication channels as official creators, which means that while Elox, as a creator, can directly report and escalate issues through internal contacts, Rostislav has no equivalent way to defend himself or respond through the same system. Some of you might argue that Supercell still detected suspicious activity on his account, but things get a bit more complicated when you look at just how similar the situations have been handled in the past. Supercell hasn't always been fully consistent when it comes to enforcing rules at the highest level. There have been multiple cases of win traders staying on the top leaderboard for months without getting banned. At the end of 2024, another player and YouTuber, Sniper, was accused of win trading after receiving repeated free wins from a player named Miak. However, it was later shown that Miak was never asked to give those wins. He was doing it on his own, but by the time this was clarified, it was already too late. Sniper had already been banned. When former content creator Laxa tried to reach out to explain the situation to Brawl Stars community manager Donnie, the response he received was that they were too busy at the time to properly look into it. And while that might be understandable, especially with major events like the World Finals happening during that period, it still raises some concerns about how thoroughly these bans are actually reviewed, and whether every case is given the level of attention that it deserves. The difference becomes starts when looking at additional cases, such as a player named Lovers, who reportedly played against Elox, engaged in trash talk, and was later permanently banned, with the reason given being related to account selling rather than account sharing, which didn't match the accusations made by Elox during their interaction. Situations like this, combined with the previous controversial bans, have fueled growing skepticism within the community. That skepticism was clearly visible under Elox's response video, where many comments criticized the lack of proof, with one user saying, Bro literally didn't drop any solid facts and is still walking around clean, while others mocked the situation by repeating phrases like, I banned him, don't worry, and 31 days. At this point, the situation is no longer just about whether Rostislav actually account shared or not. While his past clearly shows he's done it before, in this specific case, no clear or public evidence was ever presented. Instead, what stands out is the difference in power between the two players, as one had direct access to internal communication channels, while the other didn't. And in a competitive environment where both are fighting for the same goal, the difference can heavily influence the outcome. But at the same time, it is important to consider that Elox is only 16 years old, meaning his actions may have been influenced by pressure, competition, and the fear of losing the #1 spot after building such a large lead. Although, even considering his age, it doesn't fully justify how the situation was handled, especially when direct communication with developers is involved. In the end, this controversy highlights a much broader issue about fairness within competitive environments. While rules are meant to apply equally to everyone, enforcement can sometimes depend on factors not available to all players. And when one side can influence how quickly actions are taken, it inevitably raises questions about whether the system is truly balanced. But as of now, there's still no definitive answer on whether the ban was fully justified. But questions that go far beyond just these two players, and depending on how similar cases are handled in the future, it could change how competition in Brawl Stars is viewed entirely. The Brawl Stars community has experienced many controversies, ranging from small debates between players to serious scandals involving some of the biggest creators in the scene. But today, we're going to look at some of the most talked about controversies in Brawl Stars history, starting from the harmless ones, slowly moving toward the most disturbing case, which completely destroyed a creator's reputation in the community. One of the strangest controversies in Brawl Stars started with something that most players would normally never even notice, which was a small change in the character description inside the game. When the brawler Angelo was first released, his description originally said he buzzes around the canal. However, sometime after the release, the developers changed the description to they buzz around the canal. This small change quickly created discussions inside the community, mainly because Angelo is traditionally a masculine name, which made many players assume the character message that Angelo binary, explaining that that it was therefore appropriate to refer to character using a gender-neutral pronoun such as they or them. While some players supported the decision and saw it as a harmless representation, others argued that topics like this should not appear in a game that is largely played by younger audiences. I understand things of this nature makes a small minority of people happy, but a large critique of LGBTQ people is that they try to influence children and manipulate them, or in worst cases, groom and prey on them. Because of this, social media quickly filled the debates, even though the game itself had absolutely no impact on gameplay. Eventually, the situation slowly faded. However, the next situation involved real creators and a much stronger reaction from the community. The controversy happened during the Stranger Things collaboration event in Brawl Stars. During the event, players had to vote between several mysterious doors, with each door containing a different reward, and one of them offering a very desirable Kenji skin. And around that time, a short-form creator known as Brawl Reflex started uploading videos where he shared theories about which in the skin, encouraging viewers to vote based on predictions. If you take a quick look at this door, you would think it's just a coin, but upon closer inspection, there are some interesting clues indicating that not just Kenji is there. However, as the event progressed, every prediction he made ended up being wrong. Many players who had followed his suggestions became very frustrated, feeling that he had wasted their votes, which caused the comments under his videos to become increasingly negative. At the same time, another well-known creator named Snake Talk was also guessing the door, and he required to correctly predict where the Kenji skin was located. Very quick attempt. Door 5. Okay, this is my favorite door. I don't know why. It looks like the... Oh my god, this door looks like a samurai door. Oh my god, I think we have the master Kenji Harushage skin behind that door. Because of this, much of the attention shifted back toward Reflex, who was now receiving criticism from players. But instead of encouraging the drama, Snake Dog probably said, please stop hating on Brawlflex. My prediction can be as wrong as his. It's still a game at the end of the day, folks. No one forced you to vote anything. With that message, the situation slowly calmed down. But long before the more serious scandals appeared, another smaller but very viral drama involved two creators named Hyra and Ewok. The two had interacted with each other for some time, and during a series of matches between them, Hyra later uploaded a video showing several moments from their games. One particular clip showed Ewok appearing frustrated before suddenly leaving the lobby, which quickly caught the attention of viewers. The video itself wasn't extremely serious, but because both creators had large audiences, the situation quickly became widely discussed across the community. Eventually, both creators uploaded their own videos explaining their side of the situation, which only increased the number of people talking about it, turning what could have been a small disagreement into a viral moment. However, compared to the controversy that would appear later, this situation was still relatively small and quickly faded away as the community moved on. But not long after, another controversy would begin to attract far more attention, this time involving a well-known content creator who had built a strong reputation inside the community. Now, before understanding this controversy, it is important to know that Superlab had built a strong reputation in the community thanks to success in solo and duo showdown missions, eventually becoming one of the first players to reach 50,000 trophies in showdown modes. Because of this, many players respected his skill and experience. However, in August 2023, another creator named Waysome uploaded a video titled, I got rank 35 buzz in 50 hours. During the beginning of the video, Superlab joins him for several matches in order to help with the push. Superlab, the #1 duo showdown player in the world, but as viewers watch Superlab responded by saying, to clear things up, Waysome and I just queued up and faced people we know or recognize us. Duo Showdown 900 Plus is now just all teaming. While some players accepted the explanation, Waysome remains skeptical. What the controversy is fading, it once again brought attention to the topic of win trading, and as it turns out, another creator would soon face very similar accusations. Another creator involved in a win trading controversy was Lapsa, a YouTuber with more than 300,000 subscribers. In 2024, he gained a lot of popularity thanks to a series called Cursed Account, where he created brand new accounts and pushed only one specific brawler from 0 trophies. Several videos in the series reached over 1 million views. However, in April 2024, another YouTuber named IraQ uploaded a video titled Exposing the Biggest Win Trader, Lapsa. According to the video, while pushing a Cursed B account called Bobby Fischer, Lapsa was matching into his older Cursed accounts, which would then remain AFK during matches. This allowed him to win games much more easily. IraQ also showed a moment where Lapsa justified the method by saying, why would we wait 30 Stars on purpose. So before we get to that point, we need to understand how Brawl Stars even reached its peak in the first place. On April 20th, 2024, Brawl Stars introduced Mutations, followed by the June 22nd update, the most viewed Brawl Talk ever on the official channel. That update brought back old features mixed with brand new game modes. Then came the SpongeBob collaboration in August, and the Angels vs. Demon event right after. October, though, was the real turning point for Brawl Stars, because everything that came after went terribly wrong.
So, it was a collab with Toy Story. It was promising to be a great update, but this one just didn't seem to be good. People were just super upset about Buzz Lightyear, probably the most annoying brawler in the game that the game ever had.
The removal of masteries mixed with the recycled events completely killed the fun, and more importantly, the content creation side of the game.
Because this game is actually not providing enough content for content creators to grind and make the video out of it.
But we'll get back to that later, because when Brawl Stars hits its all-time low, a forgotten game started to blow up, breaking every Supercell record. Clash Royale. Clash Royale became viral, especially after Brawl Stars confirmed its decline at the start of 2025. Supercell also implemented some good updates. Clash Royale addressed the trophy road and ranked systems, with seasonal resets, unique rewards, and progression that feels rewarding instead of punishing. Supercell officially turned it into a hub game, like Fortnite, but, classified. The headline, a brand new game mode called Social Tactics. The Clash Royale comeback was also thanks to content creators like Jay-Z, Ken, and others, but nothing would have happened without the good changes of the game. For a couple of months, in August, Clash Royale reached up to $67 million in revenue. I already know about the Jinxie effect, Ken effect as well, but Ken and others, but nothing would have happened without the good changes of the game. For a couple of months, in August, Clash Royale reached up to
launch trailer of some fake video game, and you get an in-game item as a reward. Or it could be a Discord avatar decoration, or it could also be a temporary Nitro perk, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But I'm gonna give you a pretty grounded, maybe controversial hot take here. But if I have to watch a video game trailer for between 1 to 3 minutes, that's an advertisement for a game, which, by the way, I'm not required to watch it. I can just click play and then, like, I don't know, go to the bathroom or grab a drink of water. If that's all I have to do to both, 1, support Discord, and 2, get something in Discord or in a game that I'm already interested in, I think this is a lot better than Wiener Pill ads popping up in Discord. And just so we're super clear, for you to even the advertisement video, you need to intentionally move your mouse and click on accept quest. And the thing with quest that's nice is that you can actually click on the 3 dots on the quest and you can hide the quest specifically. But the unfortunate thing is that before, you were actually able to go to your Discord settings.
Today, I'm gonna push Mortis from 0 all the way to 2,000 trophies without any breaks. This means I had to press play again for hours while playing on the solo showdown without aiming at all. I had lots of crazy plays throughout the whole video, so now let's get started. So as you can see, I had him already at 500 trophies, and yesterday I dueled him for 4 hours. So that's why I have all of this claim. Currently, I'm on 0 trophies, so it doesn't really matter. Now let's get into the first game. And of course, first game was against